A Jewish cook sliced open a bread worth 500,000 marks. He then ladled a bowl of potato soup and divided it among the Jews who had been starving for 3 days. The German soldiers discovered that the Jewish cook had been sneaking extra meals. They raised their hands and lashed him with a whip, cracking his head open. Then they overturned the bread basin and kicked over the bowl of potato soup. They raised the whip again and continued to beat the Jewish cook. The other Jews were sitting around, gnawing on bread and watching the cook being beaten with indifference. The Jewish cook, seeking revenge, said that he had prepared a feast and lured the German officer into the kitchen. As the officer lifted the pot lid, the Jewish cook grabbed a small knife and hid it behind his back. He took the opportunity to kill the German officer. The Jewish cook smiled. To prevent the truth from being revealed, he decided to kill all the German officers in the concentration camp one by one. Subsequently, the Jews sharpened daggers with tin and secretly kept axes used for wood cutting. Then, a young Jewish boy pretended to repair a boiler and took 2 rifles from the armory, hiding them in the chimney and smuggling them out. After everything was ready, the Jews immediately launched their action. They first lured a German officer to try on shoes and then attacked him from behind with an axe. But the German officer happened to turn around and dodge the blow. The Jews around him immediately rushed forward, covered the German officer's mouth, and then pulled out the small knife to kill the German officer. But this was just the beginning. The Jews then lured German officers to the tailor shop under the pretext of trying on clothes. As soon as the officer put on the leather coat, the Jews rushed out and strangled the German officer to death. Subsequently, the Jews used various methods of ambush and successively killed 15 German officers. Seeing that only one was left, the Jews destroyed the communication equipment to prevent the Germans from calling for reinforcements. Meanwhile, the last German officer discovered a child while on patrol. The Jewish woman pleaded with the German officer to spare her, but the German officer did not agree. The Jewish woman took the opportunity to grab the child back. This angered the German officer, who immediately pulled the trigger. The German officer then returned to the office and found blood on the door. Following the blood trail, he entered the office and found a corpse. He realized that the Jews were planning to escape. The German officer hurriedly picked up the phone to call for help, but the phone line had already been cut. He had no choice but to have the soldiers notify others. The Jews, realizing their plan had been exposed, immediately began to scatter in all directions. The Germans immediately opened fire and sprayed bullets at the Jews, but the Jews pushed through the bullets and pushed open the barbed wire. However, the outside of the concentration camp was full of landmines, and many Jews were blown up. In the end, half of the 600 Jews managed to escape, which became a miracle in the history of World War II.